Whoa, 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 the pirate's life for me.
Hi there, I'm Daniel Handler. I'm the author of, among many other books, a new novel called We Are Pirates, which will be published in February. It's not February now when we're filming this, so the book hasn't been published, so I'm using this as a prop. This, my new novel, We Are Pirates, is about two young girls, angry and fierce, who team up with some denizens of an old age home to steal a boat and commit acts of piracy in the San Francisco Bay, while their father desperately tries to get them home. It's a sad story and a funny story because to me, piracy is a sad story and a funny story. But enough about my book. I'd like to answer some of your questions.
Whoa, 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 the pirate's life for me.
Roberto of New York asks, what made you want to write a book in San Francisco? Well, Roberto, I grew up in San Francisco, and San Francisco is an important place to me. It's a place that seems increasingly more civilized and more wild at the same time. It's also part of California, a place which likes to ignore its own history and make up its own stuff. And of course, San Francisco actually has quite a pirate history, being part of the Barbary Coast and much barbarism that went on there. So in wandering around San Francisco like I do, I began to imagine people committing acts of piracy in the San Francisco Bay, a place that once seemed wild and unbound, and now, of course, is hopelessly mapped out and GPSed and offers no actual opportunity for piracy. Or does it? Shirley from Reno asks, why pirates? What can they teach us? To me, pirates embody the fantasy of escape. We long to be away from the world, and we long to attack anyone who messes with us, the enemies that live in our head. The girls in We Are Pirates, particularly the hero, Gwen, is angry, furious at the world, as girls are when they're 14 or 15. And she can't wait to escape from everything and get on a boat and commit acts of mayhem. And it's only when she escapes from everything and gets on a boat and commits acts of mayhem, she realizes how terrifying it is to be away from the world. That, to me, is what piracy can teach us. Jolene from Ottawa asks, what kind of research did I do to write this novel? I read some pirate history, but mostly I read pirate novels. I watched some pirate movies. I wanted to delve into the culture, literary, and mythological of piracy rather than what pirates actually did. Because Gwen, the young heroine, and Errol, the older man who accompanies her on her piracy, are both really immersed in that kind of piracy and mythology. They like Captain Blood a lot, they like Treasure Island a lot, they like all of the pirates that we've heard of in lore. And they don't bother to do any research on what pirates are actually like, and so I didn't do very much research either. Greg in Tucson asks, will there be a sequel? And I can't imagine there will be, given the rather catastrophic ending of the novel. I don't think I'll give anything away, but I'll just say everyone dies, and it turns out to be a dream. Greg. Greg from Tucson again asks, have you ever stolen a boat? And no, I haven't. I've stolen very little in my life, actually. I don't have the nerves for a life of piracy. I often think that if I were on a pirate ship, I would be below deck, mixing cocktails for the brave sailors who are committing their mayhem and welcoming them home with a hug and some snacks. Also, if I ever stole a boat, I wouldn't know what to do with it. The only thing I really know how to do in boats is lie down on the boat, accept a beverage and a snack, and wish I were in the water. I like to be in the water instead of on the water. Some of the research that I did for We Are Pirates involved joining a swimming club called the Dolphin Club in San Francisco, where you swim in the bay every morning and you swim up to some very old ships. You can put your hands on them that are still there floating in the bay. The water is very cold, and the men who do it are very macho, and the women who do it are more macho. Greg from Tucson asks again, what about the sea inspires me? And as someone who grew up in San Francisco and now live most of my time in San Francisco and the other part of the time here in Cape Cod, I wish I could give a short, concise answer on why I find the ocean inspiring. It is always my favorite view. It is always my favorite sound. I like immersing myself in it. I think it's boundless and wondrous, and proposes the idea that the world goes on forever, that you can escape anywhere into the desolate and empty and inviting horizon of the ocean. And We Are Pirates, they learn that that is not the case of the world. In fact, you can't leave the world, and if you try to leave the world, you are suddenly in a lawless and violent area of your heart and your brain. Denise from Tampa asks, how is writing for adults like writing for children? Well, personally, I like books where interesting things happen, which tends to be the tradition in children's literature. Orphans, terror, wild beasts, etc. So I try to put those things in my adult novels as well. Dazzle of Stained by the Sea asks, are there any orphans in this book? Well, there aren't technically any orphans, although there are some very old people who presumably don't have any living parents. But I think what's interesting about orphans in children's literature is that they're people utterly cut off. And that's why there's so many orphans in children's stories, is that they're children who are able to be on their own and having adventures on their own, which is kind of the theme of We Are Pirates, that some young teenage girls and some old people, both ostracized by society, further distance themselves from society and do things. That's the theme in really all of my books, about people doing interesting things, all on their own. Oh my God, sorry.
Whoa, 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 the pirate's life for me.